with y'all. I don't think we as a panel are doing enough.
I got 6
By
kids.
whose definition? Your definition that we're not doing enough?
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of this stuff we had to like, well. So here's what I do, and da. I don't know. I just feel like it's not as substantive as it should be.
So
Like
how
it
should we
should.
do it for the culture then?
I
I
feed
think
150 people a week for low income housing projects at different
yeah, so,
locations.
so that so that's what boggles me.
Hmm.
That wasn't said until I said, "What the fuck are we doing?" But then you was talking about,
I
"Oh,
did.
I taught the
You
kids
just
on the
didn't get
corner."
wild specific, and I know I'd be long winded, so I try to cut myself
Yeah,
short.
but talking to kids on the corner because you bump into them at the gas station, that shit go one ear out the other, and you know it by our environments.
Now I said in schools though, bro. Like I
Yeah,
see these kids every
before
day.
though, before. See, it's about the last game. It ain't about the games we played. So how much are we really doing the impact? Because our people going up or down.
That's why I'm in policy. I do politics intentionally.
Now,
And
they
shout out
might,
to the nonprofits, Ham.
And I do that too. That's my regular
yeah,
job, nonprofit
you're
work.
right, Alex. You're right. The age rate going up, but yeah, y'all keep on
I do
handing out
workforce
needles.
development and housing.
Yeah,
I want to know him what your
Nate might be
yardstick
qualified.
is.
Y'all,
Nate
just
might.
be clear that y'all don't have a Shannon Sharp moment right now based on what Hamp is saying. If you
And
know
that's
you
right.
gave a fuck
That's
enough,
true.
then
Q.
own
Thank
your
you.
shit.
I want to know.
Don't get
But
caught
we're
up.
giving him facts, so we're giving him
Don't get
facts of what
caught
we do
up.
instead of getting all emotional about it. We just giving him
Yeah,
facts.
don't
Yeah.
get caught
Now,
up. If you feel like you're doing enough,
Nate,
I
Nate.
feel like a large part of this community don't want to be helped though.
See,
Like
cop.
they're not helping
Here
themselves.
we go. We start copping. We start telling them, well, these niggas don't want no help, so we ain't gonna help them. Nah, that
Nah,
ain't
you
how
still
it
They
works.
don't
help.
want to help themselves. Everybody, a large part of this community feel like everything got to be handed to them. It don't. You
but
got to
y'all speaking about two different
reach
types.
your hand out halfway.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
y'all
she
speaking
talking
about
about.
two different types of people because you could say that you still help, but the people that you're helping want the help that you're giving. She's talking about a group of people who don't want the help, whether it's being extended by you, Alex, A Love, A Plus, or anybody else. They don't want it.
I'm just saying that I think that's a cop out for us because
So
we ran into a couple people that
You don't
didn't
feel
want
like it's
no
the
help.
truth. So you don't feel like it's the truth. Like all
But
this, all this
if
shit
you pouring into an empty cup,
government
that's a waste of
assistance
time.
and all
Hamp.
that.
Like, keep it a buck.
What
You
I'm
don't feel like
saying,
that goes to people just not being
yo,
fucking.
I'm just saying I think that's a cop out. I think it's a cop out statement that say people don't want help, so I ain't helping.
If
No,
she knows
I'm
the
saying.
specific people that don't want the help and she ain't helping
Yeah,
them,
but it's
I
only
fucks
3 or
with it.
4 people she
But
know.
what I'm saying is along the lines of you feeling like we're not doing enough. At the same time, people just talking for no fucking reason. Because then you got to make sure you talking to the right group of people, and it's a large
That
part of the
part.
community that don't give a fuck about what.
How do
Nothing.
you know? How do you know unless you try?
If I can help 10 people, I don't care about the other 3 that don't want the help.
What about
I
one?
don't
What
care.
about Nate?
But
What if you
it's
can
the
help
other
one?
3 that everybody talking about. The people that don't want the help, the people that are not making an effort. Those are the only ones that everybody's talking about. Nobody's talking about the ones that have successfully got up and out the shit that they've been in. We're talking about the ones that's being talked about is the ones that's staying on government assistance, the motherfuckers that's on Section 8, the motherfuckers that's cutting their hours every time Section 8 come around so they rent could stay low.
So that's why you make policies so that they can't have that happen. That's why I sit in policy stuff.
So do y'all think that y'all are good examples for your culture and community? Like,
I
would
am.
you wanna,
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a
would
good.
you want to?
That's
Mhm.
good. That's a
Would
good.
you, would you want to look up to someone like yourself?
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes, I would.
If you knew my story, absolutely.
Because of my
So
story.
you're saying, so we're showing up in our culture and our community as examples, right?
Yes.
We want to be a good example for the people underneath us who are coming up, who are trying to be better. So that's how we
Absolutely.
essentially all show up on our culture and community.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And Alex, are you saying that's enough?
For some people, it is.
For
It is
some.
enough. The answer is yes. My answer is yes.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
I have to lead by example, and I can't say and want these things and then I'm not living that life, right?
Mhm.
I
Yep.
have to lead by the example that I want to see. I can't be telling the other Black women when they come into the workspace or the Howard students that we have coming into the medical program. I can say, listen, as a Black woman in the healthcare field, here is how you need to be. I need to be the example for what I have to lead with example.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Practice what I'm preaching to them. I'm sure Eddie, as a teacher, when he was working with students, he wanted to be the example. Like, I'm not going to tell you that I wouldn't do, or if I'm telling you so that you don't make the same mistake as I am. I am the standard.
Okay. So existing, like, so you're saying once you become successful, you exist in that. That should have that you think that has a big enough impact?
I think it does.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I did that with my employees too, man. I've managed 10 people, 15 people, and like I would have some serious ass conversations. I see some ghetto ass shit. This is not happening with any other administrator, at least from what I understand and what I've seen. So it's like, yo, pull you to the side, like, hey, bruh, this shit right here that I saw you do, don't do that shit again.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bring it on your evaluation, none of that. Like, pay attention to how I'm speaking to you. On some brother shit, on some shit like, hey sis, yo, that shit, nah. Don't do that shit again. And then
So
it's right back to like, I'll see
that's
you at the
more
meeting.
active though. That's more active than just being a example. You're doing something.
But are y'all really concerned with being an example or being your authentic self?
That's me being an authentic self.
But you can inspire people not even know that.
And that's the thing.
So
like,
again, it goes back to my question. Are you more concerned with being an example or being your authentic self? Like when you wake up every day, is your thought, I'm going to be an example today, so I have to watch everything that I do, say, how I move? Or are you just being your authentic self, and in that, you're indirectly...
I would say my authentic self for me.
I feel like a lot of that does fall into your authentic self, because when I was doing casework in a group home, I worked with girls from the ages of 9 to 18 that got placed in group homes due to abuse, things like that. So I had to, build cases for them and stuff like that. Now, a lot of times I told them, like, based off my own experience, like I'm big on speaking because it's something I went through. If I never went through it or I didn't experience it, I'm not going to speak on it. So a lot of it came from teaching these girls and showing these girls like, hey, like, listen, like I've been where you're at. I understand exactly what you're feeling and what you're doing, but this is how you can choose to go about it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't me intentionally just trying to be somebody for somebody else. It was me being myself and trying to get somebody else to understand, listen, it can go left or right. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me being me, because I know what that dark place is. So trying to help somebody else out that dark place that you're very aware of, that's what I feel like is the bigger picture. And I feel like that's just,
So you willing to do that? You willing to do that? Yes, you willing to do that for people? Or if they listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't. Like, are you pulling people out of a dark place? Or are you telling them this is how you get out of a dark place?
It can be, it can be either. It depends on how they're perceiving it.
Talking about you.
What do you mean? Would I pull somebody out of a dark place?
Yeah, now like Q be saying, all this shit is recorded. We've done a lot of episodes. So Q taught me that. So are you willing to pull somebody out that motherfucker? Or are you just gonna tell them, hey, this is how you get out? You can choose if you want.
I feel like it depends on the situation. It depends on the situation and the person.
You see, I got a new button, right? Hold on.
You want answers. I want the truth. You want answers. I want the truth. You want answers. I want the truth.
Yeah.
I feel
sometimes,
like
though, it is better to show.
I feel like
than to
naturally, but I feel like naturally, who's pulling in information the way they should,
No,
and
you don't.
know who's letting it go in one ear and out the other.
No, you don't.
I feel like you do. I feel like you do.
You can't.
But it depends on if you have the relationship with somebody, then you're able to speak to them that way. But everyone else, you're gonna
Nate
show
took
them
the
by
words out of
example.
my mouth.
Yes, so like
Nate's
you
right.
said, you've been in. Well, I don't know. You said something about foster care or whatever, but you said that you had that type of experience. So by you showing, okay, I went from this to that, then they're like, oh wow, I can look at that, because that's similar to my story. That's how I do. Now I don't go out to somebody and say, this is what you have to do. It depends on my relationship with that person that I can speak to them and talk to them, and maybe they'll hear.
All about if you care. That's just in general. If you care,
But there's too, Mary. I'll add to your point.
I cared. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna want you to hear what I'm saying because I care. Because right now,
but they may not want to hear. To your point, they may not want to hear.
It depends on who you're talking to. Because right now, you're 14 years old and you're trying to fight me. I will beat your ass. But because I care, we're gonna go about this differently. And I'm gonna let you know from my own personal experience about things that I've been through, about why we're here right now and what we can do to change it.
You want to talk to my 14-year-old Mary? Any one of y'all? Because listen,
I'll talk to him, Nate.
Yeah, let B talk to him. I think we in trouble, man. I don't know.
I think there's a lot of chameleons, right? So I think in regards to Mary and Nate, like y'all make good points and your heart is in the right place. But I think a lot of motherfuckers I work with are profound comedians. Some kids get it, some grown people in regards to management get it, but some people are just chameleons and they just don't give a shit. Some people are just wired to be ain't shit. And I think Hamp is making that point as well with the questions. It's just like, yo, some motherfuckers do not give a shit how much help they get. It's just like, I am designed to be an ain't shit nigga, and that's what I'm going to be.
But like I said, like I feel like you can tell who those type of people are sometimes. Like you can tell.
Nah, some people are comedians.
That's trauma.
Mary.
They need A+. That they need some therapy.
I feel like you know who you wasting your breath to.
Yeah, I agree with Mary because she's using a key word in there. She's saying sometimes, and y'all already talking over her and dismissing that part. So she's not speaking in absolutes.
Sometimes it's bullshit.
But it's factual.
Yeah, ain't nobody asked you to say no dumb shit like that. Listen, she said sometimes.
Sometimes it's bullshit. That's all I'm saying. Like you can say sometimes about anything. That's why I hate when we use that.
But it's
but then that's
because it's not always and it's not never.
But what I'm saying is sometimes it's such an easy answer to give.
But it's still not an easy answer when you elaborate.
So what she's speaking to, that's so accurate.
But I do say that like some people accept it and some people they don't. So for some people it's a relational thing. If you have the relationship with them, you can say it. If you don't necessarily, you show by example, and they take whatever they want.
But
Nay, that's not the same answer.
Times when you can tell that you're pouring into somebody who don't give a fuck, and there are times where you may not be able to identify it.
But they need healing.
That's
which
what
is
Nate.
The same thing that Eddie said, which is the same thing that you said. Y'all just cutting her off and not letting her land.
Well, I didn't say that.
Y'all all saying the same shit.
I ain't say that shit.
I ain't say that. More saying. You say that saying.